Hello folks, Tim Mosket here from Stonebake Games. This is going to be a developer walkthrough of the game Sunbeam that I released a couple of days ago. This is primarily for friends and family who don't necessarily want to play the game but might be interested in what I've been doing. So if you're watching, hello mum. So let's get started. I'm going to start a new game so that we go from the very beginning. So Sunbeam is a first-person puzzle exploration game. The one thing I'm not going to do is show all of these message pods, which are messages from previous people who have visited the planet that you're on. So I'm actually going to leave those as something to discover for people who do play the game. So the idea of this game is that there are various puzzles that you can interact with, like this mirror that you use to reflect the sunlight from the sun onto a solar panel, which opens this, melts this door here, turns on this lamp. So the idea is now that we've got various other lamps that we need to turn on, and we've got to go and find how to go about and do that. So we venture out into the Arctic biome here. You can see there's a couple of other message pods hidden away. So I'm just going to go and follow the main path up to this first solar panel here. Now this is a bit like the mirror before. You can actually rotate this and also tilt it up and down. The idea here is that you use the mechanism to direct the solar panel to face the sun so that it charges up, and then it will open the gate, as you saw there. So now I can go through the gate onto the woodland biome. So various different types of trees here. I've done most of the modelling of the trees myself. There's the landscape and other models were created by other members of the Gamkido club, where this was developed as a collaborative project. So here we have a mysterious watchtower with a mirror on the top that is reflecting light down onto the ground there, and you can see that there's a solar panel that needs charging up in order for me to progress through this gate. So the first puzzle on this particular biome is to try and figure out how to open that gate. So we can see here that this watchtower has a lift in it, but I can't currently go up in the lift because I need to charge up this solar panel. And how do I do that? Well, there's a mirror down here. But unfortunately this mirror is in the shade, so I can't reflect any sunlight from it. But if I look over here, I can see another mirror. This one is also in the shade. But thankfully there's one down here which isn't in the shade, and I can use this to reflect light onto the next mirror. There we go. And I can further use this to reflect onto the next mirror, and I'm sure you can see where this is going. The idea behind this puzzle is that it's a fairly sort of gentle introduction to the use of mirrors to reflect a beam of light around. Charge up the solar panel, turns on the lamp, and also activates the lift mechanism for the watchtower. So now I have a large friendly button that I can press to take me up in the lift, and another button that will take me down, or a wheel that allows me to interact with the mirror on the top. So just direct the light. Very simple puzzle here. Open the gate and back down the lift. So with that relatively straightforward sequence of puzzles done, things start to get a little bit more complicated. We move on to the next biome. This is now the garden biome. So here we can see that we have one gate open already out of 3, but I need to open all 3. So when I move the light off of this blue solar panel, you can see that it discharges and the gate closes. But let's charge up this red solar panel and see what happens. That opens the first gate. But when I move the light off, it remains charged and the gate open. So the idea behind this puzzle is that it's designed to teach the player that they can open up red panels and they stay charged, but blue panels will discharge if you move the light away from them. So with any luck, the player has now learnt the difference between the red and the blue solar panels, and we can progress through the gate. So I'm just going to briefly show you some of the extra stuff in this garden biome. We have a lovely cottage here with some tools, message pod sat there beside, wheelbarrow, rocking chair. These models were all provided by other members of the Gamkido Club. As were the clouds. So here we have a slightly more complicated puzzle. We have a mirror over here, but there's no solar panels to reflect this onto. We also have a mysterious shed, and inside the shed is another mirror, and lo and behold, a solar panel on the roof, or on the underside of the ceiling there. So somehow we're going to have to try and get the light to reflect into that shed and up onto that solar panel. And that can be achieved through interacting with this little wheel here. So if I align the shed and the mirror, it will enable me to direct the light now inside the shed onto this mirror. And then we've achieved what we need to by reflecting light up onto the solar panel on the roof. So, what's that done? So the cable running out from the shed shows you that we've lit this first lamp here, like we did in the woods, and this other cable shows that we've opened this gate here. But before I go through that gate, I'm going to very briefly actually use my run button so that I can go a bit faster. So there's a little extra area of the garden with a nice pond and set of flowers and reeds and banana plants and all sorts of other stuff going on. There's a nice relaxing area for the previous inhabitants of this planet to come and relax after all that strenuous puzzle solving. There's also a hedge maze here. There's a locked gate there. And an entrance here. I happen to know the route through this maze, so I'm just going to very quickly take the optimum route. And we have a cable here, and that cable is connected to this gate, so presumably there's something at the other end of this cable. So let's follow that. Here we have another solar panel and a message pod. So let's rotate this solar panel so it faces the sunlight. Now that should have opened up the gate at the other end of this cable, so let's follow it back again. That gives us a quick route out of the maze, having solved the puzzle. So now let's go back to this gate that was opened up earlier. And now we found another puzzle. But before we do that, I'm just going to very quickly open up this bridge back over to the Arctic biome. So let's quickly run through here and show you what's happened. So this is the biome where we started, and you can see now that we've lit a couple of other lamps. So we've now got 3 of the lamps lit and another 3 to go. So let's head back over and carry on with the puzzles. So this puzzle involves trying to reflect the light through a series of reflections of different mirrors onto this solar panel in order to open this gate, but we've got some large stone blocks in the way. And actually this is a good opportunity while the shadows of the clouds are passing over, just to show you the main playable character. This is an astronaut in on a sort of a wheelchair like thing, but with a sphere underneath instead of a wheel, so it allows him to move side to side as well as forwards and backwards. And the reason for that you'll discover if you read all the message pods. So interact with this mirror here to get the sequence of reflections going. But we can see from this that we have a slight problem in that the reflected light is now blocked by this stone block in the middle. But the solution to that is actually to rotate this first one like this. And you might think then that we'd want to rotate this one, but in fact this now rotates both of these, which makes it a little bit more tricky. And in fact the third one rotates all 3. So although the solution to this puzzle is quite simple, you just need to interact with the first and the third and align them like this to open up the gate at the end. It can be a little tricky to discover the solution to that. A little bit of trial and error should get you there though. So that opens up the gate through to the islands biome. This is my favourite biome. So it has some lovely palm trees and banana trees. Some more message pods. And another interesting set of solar panels. There's one on the back of this large stone block here, but another one over here. So the first thing we can do is interact with this mirror to charge up this particular panel. So this is a red solar panel, which means it stays charged. Even if I move the light off of the panel, it'll keep going, and it's actually set this stone block into motion. So as that solar panel passes into the sunlight, you can see that it starts to charge up, but it doesn't have quite enough time to fully charge, which means we need to give it a bit of a boost, a bit of a helping hand. So I'm going to do that by moving the light beam over onto this solar panel. Help it along a little bit, gives it an extra boost of power to open up the gate. And we can carry on. So now you can see that the sun is actually starting to get low in the on the horizon. That's not because the planet is rotating, it's because we're actually walking around the planet. So it is a very small planet. It's only about 300 meters across in diameter. So as we walk around, the sun will change angle in the sky. So here we need to start reflecting the light from one mirror to the next over into the distance there. The reason for that will become obvious in a minute. So this next puzzle is a little bit different to the previous puzzles. This is already charged up and the gate is closed, but because this is a blue solar panel, not a red one, if we block the light using our body, you can see that the solar panel discharges and the gate opens. So if I stand in front of the light beam again, you can see it opens. When the light falls on the panel again, it closes. So all we need to do here is get in the way of the light beam and open up the gate that way. It allows us through here. So now you can see that the sun is very low on the horizon, but because we've used the mirrors over on the other side, on the other island over there, to reflect the light onto this mirror here, we now have a beam of light that we can use to continue our sequence of reflections. So we reflect onto this one, and then finally onto the solar panel that will open the gate and allow us to progress and light the lamp for this particular biome. So there we go. You can see as we walk through onto the night side of the planet, the stars start to come out as the sun sets. But now we're in a situation where we have a solar panel on the floor, but no way of charging it up. And in fact, the only thing we can interact with over here is this sundial. So if we interact with the sundial and operate it in the same way as we've done with the mirrors, we can actually start rotating the entire sky around. So the trick to this is simply to rotate the sky until the sun is high enough that it will charge up the solar panel, and we've achieved what we need to. So here is a friendly Easter Island head. You can interact with him in the same way as with the mirrors and the solar panels. There is no particular reason for that, it's just a little bit of fun. And again, I'm going to very quickly open up the bridge to back to the Arctic biome for later if we need to use it to get there. But I won't go over there because you've seen what happens when we go back. So now I'm going to run back to where we started this particular puzzle. And now onwards through to the swamp biome. So having just discovered this new mechanic where we can use these sundials to rotate the sky, there are now a couple of easier puzzles that we can interact with that simply involve rotating the sky to the point where we can open the gates through to the other side. But I'm not going to go through there. There's actually another one over here that does much the same thing. The idea here is that it just gives you an extra hint as to what's coming up. So you need to use the sundials to interact with the rotation of the sky, and that's key to solving the next puzzle. So now, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through to the other side of this particular puzzle, and while I'm here I may as well just very quickly open this bridge up as well. So now the puzzles start to get much more complicated. So we have two solar panels, the lamp, the gate, three mirrors, and in fact a fourth mirror over there on the ground. And you can see that that mirror is in fact reflecting the light from the sun up into the sky. So what we need to do is in fact rotate the sky so that this angle of the sun changes, so that we can actually reflect the light onto this other mirror over there. So let's go back round. And see what that's allowed us to do. So now we have one reflected beam onto this mirror, which we can then redirect over here. Use this to reflect the light onto a solar panel, but it doesn't do anything. And in fact, it discharges because it's a blue solar panel. The same thing happens with this one. So that's no good to us. It appears that we need to have, in fact, both of these charged at the same time in order to open the gate. But thankfully we have another mirror over here which we can use to reflect the sunlight onto this same mirror as we used before to create two reflected beams. So now that we have two reflected beams, we can direct them both onto the two solar panels simultaneously, and that is indeed what we need to do to open up the gate and to light the lamp. So finally through to the final desert biome with a lovely sphinx and a huge pyramid as the stars come out. So here we have another sundial. So let's get a little bit of light on the subject. It's not immediately obvious what we need to do here. So we can see that we have a red solar panel and a cable running along, and that appears to go up to the peak of the pyramid with a gate, and it looks like there's another solar panel hidden behind there. And we have a mirror over here, but it's not in the sunlight, and some sort of passageway with a stone block blocking our path. So in fact the key to this is to move the mirror all the way over to the other side of the pyramid there, along the passage, into the sunlight. But in fact it's shaded by these trees. So what we have to do is to rotate the planet or the sky to a suitable point where we've got sunlight falling on the mirror. And then we can simply rotate the mirror to reflect light onto this solar panel. And there we go, that's opened up the gate at the top. So now we have to find a way of getting light up into that solar panel. So we go back to our little control wheel here, bring the mirror back, put it roughly in the middle somewhere. That's not too important exactly where it goes. We can use exactly the same mirror to direct the reflected light up into the peak of the pyramid there. And that has opened up the passageway that allows us to get to the peak of the pyramid. So this is the last lamp to light up, and it's a very simple conclusion to this sequence of puzzles. There we go, that's the final lamp. And that causes a cutscene to kick in. You can see that we've lit all 6 of the lamps now, and the planet has started to rotate again. And we get a nice overview of of everywhere we've been over the course of our journey. So in fact, we've only visited the northern hemisphere of this planet. There's a whole southern hemisphere that we've not yet visited, and that's because I actually haven't added any puzzles to the southern hemisphere yet. It's been a long time making this game, so I'm taking a short break while I recover, and I will finish off the rest of the puzzles in the southern hemisphere in due course. But for the time being, the button there allows you to continue exploring if you want to, so I'm going to hit the button. It takes me back to being in control of the player, and now we can see that the sun is gradually moving across the sky now that the planet is rotating. And we can carry on exploring. We can go and look for any missing message pods that we haven't found yet to reveal the rest of the story, or we can just enjoy the scenery. So there we go, that's Sunbeam. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. If you'd like to play the game, by all means go to my itch page, which is stone-baked-games/itch.io, and look for Sunbeam. Thank you for watching.